So we're fishing on Drayton, which is in Daventry, England, and we're zig fishing, and we've been absolutely horsing them out since about 7 o'clock this morning. I'm here with Rob Coleman, one of my good friends. We're down to, well, we started off on one rod and we stayed on one rod for the day. It was just been too prolific to do it any other way. So we've been using zigs tied up with the Tasca was-up phones. We prefer the barrels, and the colour that's been doing the business for us today is one of the good old favourites, which is the black and the yellow. And if you were setting this up, you'd have the black on the underneath, the yellow on top. So a fish underneath will see the silhouette of the black, and the yellow on top will be for fish cruising overhead. So the setup is very, very simple. We're fishing about 12-pound pro line from Terry Eustace, and we're fishing about a hook length that is roughly about maybe 13, maybe 14 feet deep. It's about 20 foot of water off the dam here, so the fish are quite up in the water. We started off with zigs of about 8 or 9 feet, and we were catching well, and then it slowed off a little bit, and we noticed a lot of the fish moving along the surface, so we've brought our zigs up higher in the water. I've been using a small little Tasca lead. This is a flat inline, and it has a built-in tail rubber. This is only about 2 ounces, and it's been working brilliant. And the great thing about the rig is it just doesn't tangle. Casting is always going to be a nightmare with a very long hook length, but the way it's set up here is you can actually lay out your zig onto the road path behind you and cast straight out. I've not had a tangle all day. I'm going to show you very quickly how the zig is actually tied up. Rob is tying one for us now, and I'll come back to you in a second. So this is how Rob actually ties up his zig. He ties a small loop in the hook length, he has a barrel and tips it off with a fake maggot, and that's used as a hair stop. He then takes his hook, threads the line through, and then starts to make his hair stand out. So he wraps it up about 4 times and then goes above the actual hair, KD style, about 4 times. And then what he does, he comes down once or twice down the actual hook itself. He pinches it tight in his hand to keep control over the line from peeling back off. He then finds the actual end of his hook length, and then what he does, he then puts that through the hook eye and then pulls tight. What this does is it gives a very proud standing zig away from the hook, and keeps it in nice and tight position so that it doesn't tangle ever on the cast, and it also gives maximum hooking potential. So the was-up foam comes in a number of different colours. I've already stated that the black and yellow is one of our favourites, but they've got reds, lime greens, yellows, blacks, oranges, whites, sort of a purple kind of colour, and then they also do a mixed bag. And the great thing is to have a selection with you, because on any given day certain foam, certain colour combinations will work better. If you're in any way nervous of casting out a zig, you could always put a little bit of foam wrapped around the foam or the hook itself to keep it so that it will stay nice and buoyant, and you can actually feather it down the cast. You'll see the actual hook link straighten out because it's got this trailing behind it. We haven't needed to do that today. We're very lucky with the way the wind is blowing. It's actually helping us cast perfectly, so we've not had any need for that kind of thing. Most of the takes have been fairly quick. A lot of the takes I've had today have happened off the back of a cast. As soon as I've cast out, as I'm tightening the line, I can feel the lead dropping down, and in fact, as you were casting out earlier this morning, the fish were so stacked up and so shoaled in front of us. As you were casting out, you could actually feel the lead bouncing down as it was going down 20 feet. It was hitting the backs of fish all the way down. I've had numerous fish taking on the drop. I've had numerous fish, as I'm tightening up to put it into the bobbin, it's just ripped off in my hand. I've had, I think it is now, we started at 7 o'clock and it's about 2:30, 3 now. I have had in excess of 30 fish. I've actually lost count. I'm probably 32, 33 fish, and Rob's ahead of me. He's probably 35, 36 fish. The biggest fish so far to me is 18.8. Biggest to Rob is about 19.4. I think it was about 19.4. So but yeah, one thing we also noticed that if you went for more than sort of 15 minutes without any indication on the rod, it was time to bring it in and cast it back out. We've been spomming all day. Either I've been spomming the area or Rob has been spomming it, but we've been keeping the bait going. Now there was a period where we got a little bit sidetracked and doing something, and a couple of lads just down from us started really heavily baiting up with a spom, and they dragged the fish away from us. I noticed that I went quite dead. Rob still was catching, but the guys next door to them were catching even more. So what we did was we piled in the spom mix again later on, and we were able to bring the fish slightly back up to us, but it has slowed down quite noticeably compared to what it was this morning. So zig fishing is one of those things that, you know, where I'm from, we don't really do an awful lot of zig fishing. We certainly don't have the waters for it. This has opened my eyes to zigging. I've always been a bit afraid of zigging, but yeah, I would actually have no fear of doing it now. I think that's the great thing about a water like Drayton. If you've got any fears about the system, you come up here, you can try it out, and you can work out very quickly what works and what doesn't work. But as I said, it's been absolute carnage. The rods have been going all day. I've been standing here prattling on. I've not had a single bleep on my rods. And I'm thinking it's nearly time to maybe wind in and recast it. But as I speak, I'm getting a drop back here. So I'm going to have to go. Fish on. Got a small, very short, maybe foot long hook length with a boilie on it, and it's actually packed into the spod. What's happening is every time we spot out, they're all crashing onto the surface and taking it from the actual coming out of the spod. I'm going to see if we can hook one off the spod.